Like what we do? Support the channel by becoming a Patreon member. Link is in the description below. Thank you as always, and please enjoy the story.
Letting out a big sigh of boredom, I sit at my desk outside Mr. Johnson's office. The afternoon is going extremely slow, and Mr. Johnson had me do some filing. I wasn't taking much interest in it, but I needed an excuse to be in the office late too. Having access to his calendar, I knew he planned to be here late tonight. Leaning back in my chair, I stretched myself out to relax, knowing what I had planned. Looking down at my heels, they'd really started pinching at my feet, and I couldn't wait until I never had to wear the awful things again. That goes for my bra also. You see, I have a plan that gets me out of my mundane life and into one that is infinitely more exciting. It will be no more single-bedroom flat, no more constricting clothing, and most importantly, no more Miss Jane McCoy. My daydreaming is quickly broken as Mr. Johnson strides swiftly down the corridor, towards his office and my desk. "Hi, Jane," he says, stopping still, just in front of my desk. "Looking to hide in the office tonight, too?" he asks, giving me a wry smile. "Thought you might need some help," I reply with a smile, lying through my teeth that I wanted to do anything but help him. "Thank you," he grins, opening his office door. Before he walks through the door, he stops and looks back at me. "Can you make sure I'm not disturbed this evening, please?" I nod and grin as he turns and shuts the door behind him. My grin turns sour as I start mocking the way he speaks. "Just you wait," I mutter under my breath. "You have no idea what I am about to do to us, Mr. Johnson," I sarcastically say aloud. Pulling open my desk drawer, I look inside. I'd recently brought, from a friend of a friend, a new disposable that allows the drinkers to swap bodies, permanently. All I had to do was slip it into a drink for him and take one myself. Then, hey presto, I'm a rich man and he's poor old me. The whole idea gets me going and I lick my lips with excitement. Leaning back in my chair with confidence, I know I can take it easy. All I had to do was wait for him to ask me to get him a coffee, and I'm in business. I start daydreaming, wondering what my first act as a man was going to be. Laughing and smiling at my very naughty thoughts, I look forward to no longer living my dull life. I moan. I will miss some things about being a woman, but I can't wait to be rich. As the hours pass, waiting for him to demand a coffee, my patience starts growing thin. He hadn't asked for a drink the entire time he's in his office. I decided I needed to be proactive, so I make my way to the staff kitchen. I groan with pain as I walk down the corridor towards the kitchen. My feet felt like pin cushions as my heels tear them apart. I kept smiling through the pain, as I know it was going to be worth it. Soon it won't be me wearing them anymore. No way was Mr. Johnson going to enjoy inheriting my feet or body. I think I'd subconsciously put these heels on this morning to punish him. Men like push-up bras too, right? I wonder if he still will when he's the one wearing it. Hurrying with excitement, I rush back to my desk with the 2 coffees I'd just made. Throwing open my desk drawer, and I grab the secret weapon as quickly as I can. I check my surroundings as I drop one in each drink. Having forgotten to grab a spoon, I grab a nearby pencil and frantically stir the drinks until all evidence has dissolved into the coffee. Okay, I'm ready for my new life. Picking up the drinks and standing in front of Mr. Johnson's office door, I burst in without knocking, a behavior he usually detests. As I enter his office, I see him sitting behind his desk talking on the phone. He is instantly shocked at my presence and immediately slams down his office phone. It was almost like a teenager who had been caught watching something naughty, and I was his mom, walking in on him. He looks like he was extremely worried about something, but I don't care. I continue with my plan. "I thought you'd like a coffee," I say, trying to act as normal as possible. "Jane, I said no interruptions," he stressfully complains, fully wiping his forehead with his hand. Ignoring his comments, I just continue to smile, bring the coffee and place it on his desk. I then take a step back, holding my coffee in such a way as to signal him to have a sip too. "Thanks," he says annoyed, reluctantly picking it up and taking a little sip. "You're welcome," I reply, also taking a sip. A sinister grin makes its way from ear to ear on my face as I watch him gulp down his sip of coffee. Jane, this tastes He struggles to finish his sentence. Before he finishes talking, we both instantly, and in unison, wrench and barrel over with stomach pain. I can only imagine what was happening to him as I fall to the floor in pain. It's working! I cry out as my vision becomes blurred and eventually fades completely. As I regain consciousness, immediately I notice the throbbing pain coming from my hand. Finding myself sitting in a chair, laying face down on a desk, I sit up slowly. I instantly feel a difference between my legs. I knew the life swap had worked. I'm no longer wearing my constricting skirt or blazer or my stupid heels. Leaning back in his seriously comfortable office chair, I start investigating my new body by rubbing myself all over. My new muscles are almost busting out of my expensive cotton shirt, and I touch my face to feel stubble for the first time ever. My curiosity gets the better of me as both my hands slide down. I feel my flat-toned stomach as I move down further. A much bigger surprise. Wow! I exclaim and grin. I fumble around for a second or two and get extremely excited. Then I hear Mr. Johnson grumble within my body on the floor. I lean over my desk to see him sprawled out on the floor in front of it. Seeing his skirt riding up and his hair is a mess, I'm glad that's no longer my problem. Mr. Johnson? I ask, finding my new deep voice powerful and alluring. Who's asking? He replies, and is instantly shocked at the sounds coming out of his mouth. Best have a look at yourself. There have been some changes. I laugh and point. He looks up at me from the floor, and his face drops and his eyes become massive. He starts fumbling around, touching his body, and frantically coming to the realization that he is now a woman. His mouth gapes wide open as he puts his hand up the skirt he's now wearing. I let out a sinister laugh and watch him try and understand what is happening to him. Miss Johnson, I laugh mockingly. This is real. You are now a woman, and I'm now you. Don't think telling people about it is going to get you anywhere. I suggest you get over it and play along. He awkwardly gets up from off the floor, using the desk to help him. Like a young deer learning to walk, he stands unconvincingly on his heels for the first time. How do you do this? He asks, clearly feeling the pain of the awful footwear I put on that morning. Wouldn't you like to know? I reply smugly, leaning back in my chair. I think you should leave my office now, Jane, I say, emphasizing the change in our roles. Expecting a bad reaction, I hover my finger over the security button located under his desk. To my surprise, he smiles and laughs. I find myself completely gobsmacked in his reaction, seeing as I'd just stolen his cushy life. Where do I live? He asks, almost laughing joyfully, like he'd won the lottery. I respond, confused by his behavior. I left an envelope with all your new life details in your new desk drawer. Thank you very much, he exclaims, awkwardly brushing his hair from his face and turning around to walk out the door. He does stumble a little, due to not knowing how to walk in heels. But soon he steadies himself. As I watch him walk through the door, completely bewildered, he turns back to me and grins. Mr. Johnson, he smiles, putting emphasis on my new name. You might want to get a lawyer. You've been very naughty with the accounts, and the authorities are onto you. What? I reply, still very much perplexed. He gently pats down his outfit and gives me a big smile. Well, it's your problem now, he says with a wink. I'm just your secretary.